had a resurgence in the mid lane in the past as well.
Yeah.
Like the Tristana, all of a sudden into a Victor. You force that flash level 1 or 2, level 2. Trundle comes in for the return gang with the pillar. Then you have a dead mid laner. So there's a lot of priority, or pressure rather, with this pick.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm excited to see how this actually goes out. Like I was saying, a little while since we've had the Trist in the mid. And 2 Yordles versus 1. If I'm going to go off Troubles maths, that's good.
I'm not sure about the logic in it, but it does sound somewhere to be in there. Yeah, we'll see how the game goes, and then we'll probably take stake of that afterwards. Result-based analysis, like we like to keep it. Exactly. Now, no funky level 1s this time around. MNM placing a little early ward just to take care of if there's any early invades. And I think jungle tracking, especially in the early game, against these two teams will be very pivotal. As we just mentioned, one pillar to force out the flash from Cress, that's all of a sudden kill pressure all the time for Tristana if she decides to jump in with that Halo Blades. I don't think too much is going to be happening down in the bot lane. The 6 is initially just a neutralizing wave clearing bot. Yeah, and that's why she's picked into the Jinx. So it's just free scaling, but that's a higher range than the 6, and that's why it's quite often picked into the likes of Aphelios and the likes of Jinx to kind of just minimize this hyper carry potential.
So where do we expect to see the action early? Because it
honestly,
looks like
we don't expect to see much action early. I'm going to be real honest with you. I'm going to give you the real boring answer and say it's going to come to create action here. A lot of it is going to come down to the junglers because a lot of these new lanes are neutralized. I think the most action-packed lane could potentially be mid lane, which is why you've also seen Cress opt in for the Exhaust, a more defensive summoner spell, up towards the top side. Graves, very much known for being this bully on the first 3 waves, take control of it, get a slow push, get it back with an item advantage, and then quite often he's just left alone because we don't really see the kill pressure. But if they keep taking traits like this, then we might see kill pressure on top side at some point with at least one jungler pathing up there. Actually, both of the junglers pathing up there.
Yeah, they're both started on that bot side, so both recognize that the bot line's probably going to be fairly quiet. Obviously, the Ziggs wave clear doesn't come online immediately. It's kind of once you've got that lost chapter, then at that point you do start to feel a little bit more comfortable. You've got the mana, you've got just the general AP and the cooldown reduction to be able to just spam bombs.
And you can just see Carlton first hit level 2 there as well, so Waves has collapsed. Honestly, I would have loved to see if Taxa just skipped the camp, went straight up out to that top side to punish the fact that Bista wanted to crash. That's not going to be the case, and he's just going to be full playing. So what he did here essentially is that he took his red buff, moved up towards the top side immediately, and then he's going to be starting to path down towards the bottom side again, just to be around to shadow his bot lane to make sure they get a favorable laning phase. Unless someone's coming in to find a pickup here. Cannon. Royal Cannon.
Cheeky. A good pillar could be real problematic for Taxa. Might just have to flash the wall, but Royal Cannon's getting close enough to the wall so he can jump over if he needs to. The flash goes down. A jump over the wall for Royal Cannon. Won't even need that flash. Pop goes Taxa. There it is, first blood.
I feel like that flash was just way too late as well. Why not just flash out of there immediately? Now you didn't even have to expend the flash of Royal Cannon. Taxa just caught in a real awkward position, and remember, he didn't even full clear yet, so all he's getting out of his first back here is just a longsword. He's going to be sticking around longer for the map, because I don't think he's going to be backing after just clearing his Crocs and his Raptors, and that's essentially going to give a little bit of an advantage to Canna once he starts clearing his 2 camps up towards the top side, recalls, and probably get a favorable item position in this game.
Yeah, it's going to be a very nice back for Canna, actually. Still, if he really wants, could go bot lane to get that second Crab. Obviously, Crab's not as impactful junglers as it once was in former days. As Wendell finds a hook into the traps. A lot of CC onto Dr. Chaos. He's going to eat the Flay, the Zap, and a couple more rockets. Nice chunk, but haven't really got too much damage to stick yet. It is early days.
No, but it's good trades, and if you can take control of the lane like this, trade them out with the HP, have Taxa come down towards the bottom side, try and make matters even worse for them, then that's a good pickup. But on the other side of MNM, they're looking to collapse on top side, with the wave being stacked up by the Graves once again, but Bista here, Royal Cannon pushed in mid. I think Carlson, he might just be forced to forfeit this wave.
He's going to have to. They're going to clear the wave out, or clear the ward out, or at least block the vision of it.
Oh no, that feels horrible as well, but there's nothing you can do to counteract it right now. Taxa, he's still clearing up the camps. He never got to clear level 1, and that's just an entire wave missed by Carlson here. He's trying to walk up.
Yeah, he's going to real struggle to do this as Bobista actually not able to fully stop him. So he loses 1 wave, including that cannon, but Carlson is able to get back in and not lose too much more from that. But it's still, you know, bit of a handicap for him at this point. You can see the CS starting to grow in Bobista's favor. Taxa's trying to find some camps to take, but there's nothing for him to go because the Gromp has only just spawned.
Yeah, and here we talked about it as well, being out on the map after only clearing the first top side of the map. You can see Longsword still for Taxa. His topside camps are respawning now. For the side of Canna, he's sitting on a Sheen. He's sitting on a Ruby Crystal. Definitely in a favorable position. And that means as well, you want to start up Drake with a bot lane pushed in. If you want to start invading the topside camps as well with priority from Royal Cannon, that puts you in a very good position. Vendel, he's having a good response though. They had the reset time out first, so he's around shadowing his mid laner.
He's looking for something onto Cannon, but Cannon got the flash, got the jump. Also has an exhaust himself as well, so a little hard to actually make this play go down. But Wendel's still just threatening and allowing Crest to shove this wave in on his terms.
And that's actually super important, but because that means Royal Cannon, he's going to be forced to farm up a wave under the turret. It means Taxa can safely clear out his topside camps, and it means that you can't really commit to a play with Canna, with the scene, and with the Ruby Crystal.
Well, like you said, definitely a slow start to this game. Did expect this.
We did.
So let's talk mid game. What is our options? What are we expecting as we head into the mid game?
See, it's a thing that's going to be defined about who's going to take these objectives, and it's going to be defined by who's going to be setting up first. Now, if we take a look at how the game's been going so far, you would assume the mid game is going to be dominated by MNM because they're the one who's having lane shoved in, they're the one who's pushing and moving with Royal Cannon and Canna as a duo, something that we in the past have highlighted for MNM quite a lot. And they're probably going to be the ones stacking up objectives. That's what we want to see from them. Push in bot side, push in mid, move the pressure from mid down towards the bot side, start up this Drake, because right now, Vendel, Chrisberg, they're actually the most solid lane right now from the Astralis side. They're the only winning lane in terms of having a push. And as MNM, you have tools right now to disrupt that. Push in mid, move it down bot, start off the Drake, and then all of a sudden start the objective stacking.
But I do think this bot lane's going to get slightly harder for Chrisberg as we get in now, because the Lost Chapter's finished up onto Michigu. So as you can see, the wave clear's starting to come in on this Ziggs, and this shove now becomes even harder to do. As he starts to stack up more and more AP, the waves just start to completely melt every time he steps forward. We're not quite at that point yet, but the wave clear is a lot more consistent than it was earlier for him. Still has to play respect towards Wendell, who's obviously got this bush control and just denying Dr. Chaos or Michigu from stepping up too far to the wave. So for now, the control is still in their favor, but look who's moving down. Mid and jungle threatening it.
Oh, great hook, though.
The hook into the traps. The flash is forced out, the flay onto the traps as well. Satchel's going to disengage somewhat here, and Taxa's also showing his face in the bot side. Well, not showing it, but hiding. He's going to sneak into the alcove.
This also stopped the roaming timer for Royal Cannon, so he had to go back mid. Excellent hook from Vendel, but it looks like there's nothing more to be gained than that play than just a little priority.
Oh, Rest can take a fair amount of damage here, but was able to answer out with the Death Ray. It looks like this Dragon's just going to be a freebie for the side of Astralis.
Not going to be a freebie just yet because they're trying to get control of the mid lane. You can't just start it out. And especially because, yes, you have pushed in Michigu, but he's sitting on TP on that 6 as well. And there we have it. Yes, TP just come through. And they're deciding to allocate their resources up towards the top side for a potential Herald play, but the response is quick. And we have 5 members on the map up here.
Carlson, I believe, has just gnawed out as well, so there's a slight cooldown before he can go Mega. The bar's nowhere near filled out, so that's something to keep in mind as well. As Chaos dodges out and the wind becomes lightning, and the fight is breaking out already. A lot of zone control to start us out. Bobisa pops the ultimate, but Tuxer blocks most of it with his own. Chrisberg under fire from Royal Cannon, who flashes forward and collects the kill. In comes the rocket. It's not going to quite hit anybody, as now Astralis are limping away. In comes Cannon, has the W, but has to jump out to safety, almost gets taken out. The Rift Herald almost finding the kill onto Royal Cannon, but MNM are able to find themselves the team fight victory, at least for now, but everybody has blinking health bars.
And crucially, the Nah bar wasn't up there. Carlson wasn't in a position where he could actually now and go for a team fight. Now he has the Mega Nah, but now they're disengaging again.
Oh, good blind from Bobista. Carlson's got ultimate though, so I think it's too scary for MNM to step even further forward. Nobody's going to get the Herald.
Nobody's getting the Herald. It looks like they're going to be starting it up now. And Chrisberg, he's moving down towards the bot side, trying to see if he can pick up any resources. But no, they disengage it again. And no neutral objectives were to be taken in that fight. But they do get a kill for themselves.
Yeah, and it's onto the Tristana as well. Probably the best person to get that kill.
Probably the best person right now.
God damn it,
you had the perfect accent for it right there. But Royal Cannon fights an excellent reset on the rocket jump, flash forward, ultimate. Chrisberg just straight up out of the fight. Poor ultimate, a little bit from Michigo there. Definitely potential to pick up Taxa. And Vendel, if his hook was ready for Royal Cannon there, that's the kill. Unfortunately, turn it on to Babista, and they just get out of that with low HP bars. No neutral objective still, but that's a fight for potentially just another minute we'll be having.
Yeah, it's just a little bit more gold injected into the side of MNM. They are 1,000 gold up over Astralis right now. I'd like to have a quick toggle of the gold while we got a brief moment, just to see who's got what leads. Obviously, we're expecting Royal Cannon to have a pretty big lead. It's only marginal, actually. 600 gold over Crest. So those 2 kills kind of being somewhat...
That is literally the 2 kills. That's 600 gold for you right there. So making its way in the inventory, and obviously it is an advantage. Royal Cannon, flash from Vendel, is it there? No, it's not.
Also just taking stock, the first Mythic has come in. Babista has finished up the Eclipse. So nice little power spike. Gets obviously that shield and quite a lot of burst damage coming out from that. But Astralis once again are going to lean multiple people up towards this side of the map. This time Michigan no teleport, so won't be able to join. Maybe MNM are just willing to give this up.
Yeah, and this looks like mechanized around as well, so I think they're just going to be moving their way out from this one. You can take a look at Michigan making his way down to bot side as well. So Rift Herald, it is going to be picked up by Astralis, but at what cost?
Optimistic ult from Babista there. There's no real dragon. I mean, obviously because Kana went top to do the Krugs, there's no real dragon threat right now. Michigan obviously does have that execute on the tower, but the tower's so far away.
It's still going to take a while. Like, he does a lot of damage to it, but I think the resets timers are going to come through. And I mean, I say that, but I think it takes another wave before he really can take this turret down. And by that time, I'm hoping Chrisberg and Vendel will have made their way back towards the bottom side of the map, where next fight could be happening around the Drake. But I gotta say, in terms of the bot lane carries here, I favor Michigan with a Lost Chapter Spike over whatever Chrisberg has in items right now. The fact is, you're playing Jinx without a Gale Force. That is just not the same, especially when you haven't picked up the Noon Quiver either. It just looks like you're going to be waiting around a little longer before you feel like you're comfortable to take up these fights.
Yeah, absolutely. And Royal Cannon's just been on the base. Got the attack speed boots finished up for this next fight as well, along with a Noon Quiver.
Look for it now, because resets are a little bit late, but no, they are just going to be scouting around.
Yeah, they didn't quite have the information. I think if they'd known, that would have been instantly onto Dragon, but they didn't really know who anyone was, so it was a little risky just to start the Dragon up. That Infernal Dragon does quite a lot of damage early as well,
oh, yes.
So don't want to get poked out too hard here. Kinda might be looking for Chrisberg, but Wendell, wonderful positioning here. Has that Lantern, means Chrisberg can get out. Satchel goes down into the Lantern, but the Lantern's now being used. The Solar Flare into the pillar. Here comes the bomb. Chrisberg heavily chunked out already. Great hook, though, to save Chrisberg's life. Wendell, with his dying breath, able to save Chrisberg.
And Nymera talked about it. There's so much.
Don't worry, it's not real.
It's not real. There's so much pressure on Vendel with these lanterns, and the fact he decided to go up in the lane rather than down towards the turret after throwing out that lantern really put them in a good position for Dr. Chaos to just scalpel them up with a solar flare.
And there we go, first Dragon over to MNM. So, Astralis have been able to pick themselves up this Rift Herald. MNM have picked themselves up the Dragon. Next Dragon's going to be the Ocean, so we're looking at maybe a Cloud Soul, maybe a Hextech Soul or Mountain. I feel like Hextech Soul would be just perfect for either team here. I mean, all that attack speed, you got Tristana, you got the Jinx, they're going to love that. But Beast has to be careful, though.
Flash is available, so I think he's just going to be out of there. Carlton missed the Q there a little bit on the jump and couldn't really get the slow into the Na, behind into the W immediately. Because of that, they're not going to be able to pick anything up. But the rotations, though, from Astralis, they continue to remain proactive. And there's 30 seconds before the platings fall. They need to get something out of this Rift Herald, or the play they committed are just going to be for nothing. So they're 4 members up here. Make that 5 in just a moment, with Crest making his way up there as well.
Able to pop the plates, but Tax is going to have to place this down fairly soon. It's going to go down now. We'll get the charge out, so that will be a couple of plates over. Chrisberg's going to stay in range to make sure that he is the one to pick up on these plates, but has to be very careful.
Oh God, they missed it! The plates fell apart! They didn't get it. It was 1 second off.
Oh,
they
that's
didn't
so
get any
sad. And Carter's
Herald.
going to punish. Gets the speed up from the domain, but isn't going to find the pillar.
They had such a high priority for that Rift Herald, losing 1 member in the first fight, then coming back around, sacrificing their bot lane priority for it, with Michigan getting a lot of plates. And realistically speaking, that decision-making from Astralis has cost them already in the early game. They're now 3K behind. And Michigan, I think he's just going to be able to pick up the first turret here with the satchel. Wait for it. Wait for it.
Waits for the wave to die. Very smart. There's the solar flare. Lantern's going to be pretty big, though. And Chrisberg able to get out. That's a better Lantern from Wendell.
Oh, yeah, but that's straight back to the turret, so that's obviously not as difficult. Still looking
nice
around,
but
though.
I mean, Flay always looks like, I mean, any kind of CC support looks way more flashy now. Glacial Orb is basically all they say.
It feels so much better as well. Like, the Flay, it's almost impossible to miss your hook. That was blind as well. Almost had it. If he catch that, surely it's a flash forced. Either way, look at that item advantage right now from the side of MNM. They've picked up their first Mythics, Luden's Echo onto Mishigu. You got the Gale Force as well now on Royal Cannon. Cannon been sitting on his Divine Sundra. They are just way stronger right now. Luckily, there is still 2 minutes and 30 seconds before the next Drake comes around, if that's something where Astralis is looking to build up their own inventory for a potential fight around that objective. But I think realistically speaking right now, Hitbrain, we're not looking at Astralis fighting back. We're actually looking them in a position we're quite used to seeing them at this point, and that is behind.
Yeah, unfortunately for Astralis, it's not been the greatest split for them. There were high hopes looking at this team put together. There was high hopes just because of the organization's name, but 3 and 8 as we are ending week 6.
The organization's name in LEC or in Counter-Strike? Because they're following the LEC team quite well right now.
Yeah, I know, but you know, it's still an LEC team in...
That's true.
You know, you kind of just, you feel...
That is true. There was SK Prime as well, and they missed out on playoffs in Prime League as well, finishing 7 last time.
It's not
unheard of for Academy teams, but...
I mean, it happened to XL a couple of times as well, back in the day.
Well, they lost out in the first NLC split, but granted, they did get first place, and it was Riddle that took that spot for them.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, XL had a crazy past in the NLC, or on all iterations of it as well.
I was going to say, yeah.
But anyway, back to this game. I'm not going down the history lesson.
Well, it's not quite over just yet, but it is right now reminiscing of the past, just a little bit of the league we're having, because we are going to a point where we're at a point where NLC is not just the first year of the league any longer.
No.
We're starting to have some history, and MNM's history. It is, but you know what's not good history?
No.
MNM's history in the NLC. For the longest time ever, they've just been relegated, then came back up. They've been relegated, then came back up, and they've been relegated, and then they came back up. It finally feels like MNM has a team that makes their name sound competitive.
Yeah, no, this is the best iteration we've had of MNM since, well, I mean, when they were in the UKLC.
Yeah.
It's genuinely the last time we saw them when they were a competitive team. They were seen as the Academy team slayers back then. But that was, you know, 3-4 years ago. It's been so long since they've looked this good. You know, and they're not on top form. They're not the top of the tables, but they are looking pretty decent. And if they can find a win here, it will put them further up in the tables. It gives them a better run and better shot at playoffs. Because like you said, they spent the first couple of years of the NLC just circling the drain the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they actually fell down the drain before this split.
I mean, they had Monk mid era. I mean, there's a good era of MNM that's come through. And I mean, now let's just quickly bring it back to the game, because I just want to see by the positioning of Astralis if they're looking to contest the next neutral objective, and by the look of it, doesn't really look at it. Krez might be forced to flash here if a good pillar comes out.
Ooh, it could be close. Able to dodge out on the Everfrost. And yeah, he's going to be okay. Holding his nerve, but this time I see a Rift Tail getting used a little bit more effectively than we saw Astralis do it. In fact, maybe not.
I mean, it's not even used yet, but there's going to be a satchel charge by the end of this, surely, or at least just making this mid lane turret low is always that threat. Another good hook from Vendelbo, though.
Yeah, forces Dr. Chaos to flash because the gravity field went down. I don't think that tower's in satchel range. It's not.
Not yet.
As one more wave means it probably will be, and that could just be 2 towers in the mid lane down like that. It could be really, really problematic as Chrisberg getting all in here by Bobista, but does miss out on the end of the line. But here comes backup. Bobista pops the ultimate to put a bit of distance between him and Astralis, but Wendell's still looking for that hook. Lovely sidestep from MNM's top laner.
And even then, did still have the flash. Drake is picked up by MNM once again, so keeping this Drake stacking going for them. Astralis, though, finally able to pick up an objective on the other side of the map. And speaking of these objectives, you can clearly see what Carlton is going for. He's actually rushed the Hold Breaker as well.
Yeah.
So trying to be in a position where he can contest the Graves at the side lane, try to go for these turrets. I'll be honest with you, though, I'm not so sure he wins out in the side lane skirmishes against the Graves. Like, look at Bobista right now. 200 CS, a shot down to his name after having absolute 0 kill participation as well. Just raw laning stats.
I mean, he's got a 2-level lead.
210, 90 minutes in the game.
Over 10 CS per minute.
I mean, it's kind of, you know, a little flashback to Flandre at Worlds as well on his Graves performance as well towards that top side. Just without resources, 2 items, 19 minutes into the game, he's looking scary. Anyone comes across him and looks at him the wrong way, they're going to be punished for it.
Got the Collector as well on this base, so...
Oh yeah, he'll be collecting them fools.
God. Oh, you've never sounded more geeky in my life.
I'd love to be here.
Yeah, he is going down towards the bot lane now to deal with Carlson, who is backing off, understandably, from this Graves. As MNM still want to try and just get close enough to this tower Now, they have Royal Cannon, who's got almost 2 items on the Tristana, but is a little bit of a ways away from the rest of the team. Great pillar, actually, to slot Wendell, but they're jumping into Dr. Chaos. He's going to land the slow, the Lantern, the flash, the hook. Wendell coming up big here, baby. Ultimate by Chrisberg, not even necessary. Because Wendell, you earned that kill.
Blown for just 1 support. 2 flashes to come out, ultimates as well, and in the end, it's Wendell that picks up the kill. I mean, it's something, you're not losing anything for it, but you saw how much it took for Astralis just to get 1 kill on the board finally.
Yeah, I mean, they did burn a lot at the end of the day. Nice flashy play by Wendell. I thought he was out of it thanks to the pillar and the slow.
Oh, yeah.
Completely irrelevant, just flashes in, lands the hook, finds the kill. But the big thing is there's nothing to take. They weren't going to go take Baron off the back of that. It's 2 minutes until Dragon spawns up. So it's just a bit of gold injected into your support and a bit of assist gold, I guess. But they didn't really gain any lane priority other than Crest going top lane, but Royal Cannon will catch that as well.
Yeah, and you know, it's also a dire situation because right now, Astralis, they want to scale as well. They want Itis and Chrisberg on the Victor as well for Crest, but I mean, so do they on MNM. You see the Tristana, you see the 6, they're completely fine with the scaling aspect of this game as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I actually now think the Royal Cannon should be able to take this top lane turret. Is a Tristana, should be able to absolutely mince through this tower. Chaos is actually hanging in the wings, thinking somebody has to come answer Royal Cannon, but looking at the minimap, nobody even wants to go close. This Tristana is 2-0. This Tristana also got a lot of farm, almost 10 CS per minute on him as well. The gold is where MNM wants it, right? I think that's the big thing.
And the thing is, right, there's nothing Astralis can do to punish right now. They don't have a single winning lane for them or anything to play for. They're just forced to sit back, clear up the remains of what's left to them on the map by MNM. Oh, what's that? A jungle camp. Thank you, MNM. I appreciate you left that available for me just to get some resources because they're continuously just being pushed in with no point of attack for them right now. 2 items picked up by Chrisberg now. He's got the Phantom Dancer. On Michigo's side, though, he's sitting on that Shadow Flame as well, so it's not becoming easier for you to fight, and you're still going to be dealing with the long range of walking into a chokehold of the 6, the Solar Flare, watching out for the Trundle Pillar. Tristana's range that's scaling as well. She gets ranged and ranged and ranged, the more levels she gets, of course. So despite having a long range champion like Jinx, she's being outranged, which we don't quite often say.
Yeah, I think this is the kind of big brain pick of the Ziggs. It's so effective at just kind of, you know, holding the waves, got so much range. And the big thing as well is the zone control, especially on a mountain map. Because now you've got even thinner pathways to go through.
That's a good
point.
Satchel,
the minefield, it makes it very hard to get into this Baron pit. And Ziggs, this is the perfect map for a Ziggs.
Not only that, but also just the chokehold, the Solar Flare, the Pillar. Like, you have so many abilities that just make terrain even more scarier. And if you don't have control of the river right now, just like that.
Oh, Wendell, I don't think you're getting away from this one. He's going to stopwatch, but I was just buying time. Michigan is gifted the kill. And Crest now actually could get caught out. A good Solar Flare could shut this down, but actually, there's the ultimate. There's the flash forward to try and find a little bit more as the bomb comes down. Royal Cannon waiting to go forward. Kana, can he find the opportunity, find a good pillar? Think he can, because Crest has been forces the flash out, but everybody else is going to jump in, and Babisa are able to find the kill. Look at the damage coming in. Dunked by the rocket, and Chrisberg's excited. Gale Force for the double kill. Kana now going to get chased down. Uses the subjugate for a little bit of stats, but Carlson finding the slow. Royal Cannon still has the jump, still has the escape option. Trying to find the 1v1. The bop from his HP. Not enough. He's not going to find the kill. The shutdown by Taxa. Astralis turn it around.
And just like that, they went from a 6k gold deficit to a 3k gold deficit. They're still in the negatives, but they're back into this game. They should be able to pick up this streak, unless Kana has something to say. He's not on vision. Now he is, but he does have that smite. And Taxa, he does not have smite currently.
Yes, but Kana doesn't have flash, so it's very hard for him to get into the pit or get out of the pit. Either way, Michigu hasn't got the ultimate available either. They're going to see the dragon go down, and that is the first one for Astralis. It's going to put a bit of a halt in this Mountain Soul.
Oh, finally getting something done here. Lots of shutdowns to be picked up, and brilliant pillar, completely just blocking Crest, forcing him to flash, but once again into his own death. But Bista jumping a bit too far forward, and I gotta say, bit disappointed by Carlson's flash forward. He flashed W instead of just flash ultimate. You could have called Royal Cannon for sure there, which would have made this team fight way easier instead of risking Chrisberg having to flash away. And you said it, my word, that is a lot of damage right there on the Jinx from the Tristana.
I mean, yeah, Royal Cannon's pretty strong right now.
Pretty fat right now, yeah.
Yeah, got the LDR, got the Gale Force, and is building towards I believe that's a Phantom Dancer next, just from that long sword in the inventory. It could be a Bloodthirster, but I think you probably want a bit more attack speed.
It remains to be seen either way.
We'll find out.
Oh, we will find out in the next episode. Actually, just in the next 5 minutes, probably.
Luckily, our league isn't episodic, at least for the games.
I mean, sometimes it could be interesting just to have, like...
What, a pause for a week?
I mean, it's not a Fnatic game at least, but that was definitely the next episodes when that was happening around. But no, back to this game. You can finally see Astralis. They're able to actually push up on the map now. They're the one who's driving some movement around the map, but they need to be careful of not getting overconfident either. They are still in a deficit, and you can see it in the gold as well. But the carries are equal now. Crispec finally sitting on 10k himself, rivaling the opponents of MNM.
Stole away the red buff as well from Royal Cannon, so that's actually pretty nice.
Actually, that's pretty good.
That's very nice there. Big denial. Pillar, more zone control we were talking about. It's very hard for them to move through this chokehold to defend this tower. MNM, if they wanted it, I think they probably could have committed to at least take that tower with a satchel and get out safely. Decide to play it safe. I understand why. That they did just lose a team fight. The Jinx is slowly starting to get a little bit more online, a little bit more scary. Once you got these 3 items, that's when Jinx is terrifying. Although it's not going to be the Infinity Edge third for Carlson. Sorry, for Crispberg. It's going to be the Lord Dominic's, obviously dealing with the Subjugate and a lot of tanky stats from that.
I think that's fair. I think that's solid. You're not going to have the best backline access, so knowing you need to go from the front to the back, I think that's fine itemization, but it's still Astralis in a bad position as soon as these fights break out, right? Because it is still MNM who should, realistically speaking, have the advantage in these chokeholds, as we talked about. Remember, that fight they just won was down towards the bot side. Big, long, open lane where getting excited allows you to move around without having to worry about walking down one side into the river where there's just going to be satchel charges or bombs or whatever is going to be waiting in the fray. So it was a good fight for Astralis. They're now sitting on 3 items. LDR has just been picked up by Crispberg. So finally a player ahead of the curve and finally someone to play for in this game.
Kana's built the chains as well. I'm not sure who they've put it on, but I assume it's probably Crispberg.
I mean, so there's 2 different ideas about that. Either you put Anathema chain on towards the most fed target, or you put it onto towards the only AP damage dealer, so you only have to worry about building armor next time around.
That's fair. That's actually a pretty understandable idea. Oh, Kana.
Okay, Vendel waiting around again for it, but I mean, even if they get a hooker and Kana, I don't think they're getting him.
He's going to be very hard to kill.
Oh,
he's going to be exceptionally hard to kill. Up in the top lane, 300 CS on Bobista. Bobista is farming unbelievable amounts. 3 items onto the Graves and has just been a real problem in the side lanes. You can see Royal Cannon still dealing with the top wave farm because Crest at this point pretty much one-shots waves. And Wendell, eaten up by the pillar, but not really under any real threat. I think at this point, Astralis, 3-item Jinx, they have a very, very fast Baron if they're given the opportunity to do it.
But they're never going to be given that opportunity and even like long-range poke to come through from the 6. I think if you're ever starting up that Baron, it's either because the entirety of the MNM has made their way down towards the bot side without spotting a single member of Astralis, or it's because Astralis finally gets a pick. But they don't have too much pick potential. It's really only on Vendel to find a hook. And even then, you find a hook on Kana, I'm not too sure how much you're going to be able to deal with him in terms of one-shotting him.
I also think the big problem you've got is that tier 1 is still standing for MNM. So it's really hard to push the waves deep enough to force MNM far enough back because they can always just teleport into the middle of the lane, into the middle of the map. Michigu's here. And Michigu at this point, 3 items, Death Cap, Ludens, and the Shadow Flame. These waves are just melting. You've got the Graves. You've got so much wave clear available to the side of MNM. And Astralis, they can't even get close to this tower. It's lost like, what, a 1/5 of its health, a 1/4 at best?
Yeah, and Crispec's already down to really low amount of mana. So like him shooting his rockets and then having his ultimate available as well, I'm not even sure how good a position they're going to be in for this one. You can see how much it takes from Taxa just to walk up, and I think you should just be focusing on the mid lane turret here instead. I don't know if you can actually contest this, but they might look for it with the angle of Carlson flanking with Mechanar.
Yeah, he's about to get it, actually. This could be a really big one for him, but Cannon jumps in. The exhaust goes down. Carlson has to jump out. He's going to get Mechanar, and the exhaust will wear off. MNM are all grouped up. If Carlson can find himself a good flash into the wallbang, that could be enough. But the Rocket's going to poke out Crispberg and take just under half his health.
Oh my god, it's so difficult to fight as well. Solar Flare, Pokona's come out, but now Taxa finally
He's trying to
engages.
find the opportunity. Kana's going to try and steal it away. Look for the smite. Who's going to be able to secure it? Taxa steals the dragon, but he's in the pit, flashes out to safety, and MNM can't get more. Hook goes wide. Wendell is left on his lonesome. A great flay, though, means he's going to be A-OK, but they find themselves the kill. The rocket comes in from Chrisberg.
Reset,
and Chrisberg's resetting everywhere. A triple kill for Chrisberg. He's looking for the quadra kill, but he's not going to be able to get it because Carson steals it away. Crest chasing for Kana, and that might be that Baron opportunity we were talking about. Goldberg.
Excellent kiting by Chrisberg done, and with the help of Carson, they're able to pick up 4 kills. Triple kill for Chrisberg, 4th kill for Carlson. No jungler. Kana is alive, and will they start this one up? Looks like the answer will be yes. Kana, are you in a position to contest this at all? There's no blast cone. He does not have flash, and therefore the objective is forfeited. Astralis, they get the Drake, they get the fight, and they'll get the Baron to put themselves back in this game and let it remain competitive.
Unbelievable couple of moments from Astralis. Let's look at the fight again.
Yeah, they bait out a lot of the ultimates. The pillar is down, so they don't have to worry about that. So is the Solar Flare. And as soon as they're waiting around with the Drake, Astralis make the call to burst it, so Taxa can get the smite down. Then they fly to look for the fight. Chrisberg does not have too much mana, so he's going to be wary about how he utilizes his gun here. You can see he gets so low because he's forced to use his mini. Then when the range finally allows for it, he starts kiting out and just barely dodge it out on the last Q from the Graves. Triple kill. 4th kill to Carlson. We know how the story ends. They're finally back on the map with Baron, and they should be in a position where they can finally try and dictate the game.
Man, Babisa just wasn't able to get close enough. If he could find that little bit of damage, the Collector probably would have done enough, but the flash, the Gale Force, the safety afforded in the room that Chrisberg gave himself to breathe. Couple of questions about Dr. Chaos's flash Zenith Blade there onto Wendell.
It is definitely questionable. It looked like they could go for the fight blowing up completely. They weren't ready for the damage that Chrisberg were able to utilize, and it's also just the sense of the game itself. You haven't been dealing with an open-ended fight where you felt the damage from Chrisberg, so it was a kind of a surprise factor as well, how much damage he would actually be able to utilize on these targets. And Chrisberg, as a 3rd item, went for the PD as well. 4th items looked to be the Bloodthirster, so just keeping himself alive. He knows it's going to be extended fights. He knows the poke is going to be raining down on him, so having this extra self-sustain, especially when he's going to be kiting back, may be more important than the raw damage you get out of an Infinity Edge.
All right, well, as far as the Baron has gone, it has got 2 towers so far to Astralis, both on the bot side of the map. This mid one is the one I need to see them take, though. If they're unable to take this with Baron, things could get really dicey for them. Obviously, got a lot of zone control with the Ziggs as the bomb's going to go down. Not really going to hit anybody. They got a little bit of damage off from Babisa's ultimate, but this tower will finally crumble down. And they just need to wait out Carson's ultimate if MNM want any hope of finding a way back into this game.
Slowly but surely, they are extending a gold lead for themselves as well, and that's great, especially when we start to take into account the Drake stacking they now have on the side of Astralis. 6 extra percentages of resistances, now 12. With the 2 Drakes they've picked up for themselves, they keep this going, and it's going to get even harder from the side of MNM to take care of them. Yes, they have to subjugate value, but all the small things, like picking up a more mortars later.
Eaten up by the hook. The traps go down. Solar Flare lands on multiple people. Royal Cannon comes in, looking for Wendell. Great pop back. Advances out of a fight. Kana will go down as well. It's a 1-for-1 support for jungle. No Dragon, no Baron available.
They continue the siege as well on the top side, so tier 2 turret should be able to go down here, and once again Astralis, they keep extending that gold lead. 3k gold lead from what at some point in the game I believe to be a 5k deficit. They've really clawed their way back into this one from seemingly nothing, where they had no winning lane whatsoever, but one good team fight where they played around Chrisberg. Kind of a flashback to the old days of Chrisberg, where he was always the sole line of defense back when he was playing on Nordavin.
Yes, I mean, this is the Chrisberg I know. Hyper carry, hard carrying.
Exactly.
Best way to talk about it. But Royal Cannon still on the Jinx, on the Tristana, still capable of doing a fair amount. What do you make of this Hex Drinker?
I mean, Hexdrinker is fine, because you are, once again, it's a buffed more for Mortius that you're coming into it again. And Victor, he is scaling up a lot. He even bought Rabadon's 2nd item because he knew his enemies weren't building magic resist whatsoever. So there's no need for you to go for that extra magic penetration. He was just going for the raw AP. Pillar does disrupt him a little bit, so does the Satchel Charge. It's a little bit of a bounty castle you're moving into when you want to contest these objectives.
Oh, that's going to be the bomb. Oh, Cress is almost out. That's
Okay.
a massive ultimate. That's a massive engage. Crescent Guard's going to come down, but the satchel will pop in. An amazing lantern by Wendell saves the day. Carlson's health and his team are just too low. Carlson, can he buy time for the rest of the team to come in? There are no teleports available to the chunked out members, so they need to heal up and get back into the action, or just play with low health bars. Dragon, half HP.
Taxa's coming around as well here.
Away. Taxa, can he get in time? Trying to steal it. Carlson comes in. The smite goes down, and that is stolen away. What a knockback, but Michigu untouched for the moment. Massive rocket coming down from Chrisberg, but the resets aren't big enough. Royal Cannon's going to pop everybody back, and Astralis are limping out after not stealing the Dragon.
Yeah, super awkward fight, and it finally puts MNM on soul point. They get that third Drake for themselves. They get that extra pressure, and they walk away from the fight with an HP advantage, allowing themselves to push out the waves before they start recalling. And that was just a little taste of how close these affairs can become whilst we start fighting around these neutral objectives, because what's that? 1 minute on the clock, and that's going to be Baron respawn into this game.
We've had back-to-back games where these team fights are so scrappy and so close. I am absolutely loving this. Like you said, though, 1 minute until the Baron is up. Wendell is on the map and looking to get the vision control, get his team into the area.
About this, if they don't show in low lane, there's actually not any vision on them. So if any member steps too far forward, can try and catch someone off guard. And you can see Wendell, he's pinging for it. He's trying to get aggressive. But no, they don't want to go too far forward. And you know what? Granted, they could have been on vision. There's not too much intel right now on your enemies either.
Yeah, I think they're hoping and going with an educated guess that they were on resets and just getting enough gold to go in for this next fight. You can see for the side of MNM, they're just trying to collect as much gold as possible because this next fight could decide so much.
It most certainly could. Astralis, they're gaining control of the enemy jungle. They're trying to clear out some of the camps. Not too many members of MNM scattered around this, so they should be able to trim this away. Astralis still in a position where they are the one dictating the pace. And as we said, it's been a long time since we've seen them here. And it would be disastrous for them and their chase towards playoffs if they would drop games to MNM. Realistically speaking, if you win this game, you trade even with them. You're completely even in the standings, which is exactly what you need after such a horrible first start to the NLC in the first round robin.
Yeah, absolutely agree on that one. MNM now going to move in, get the vision down. They want to have control of this area. Placing a couple of wards, but again, it's a similar situation.
It's a back and forth as well the whole time, right? It's Astralis that's going forwards, then it's MNM that's going forward.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing, though, is they didn't really get that much vision down, so it's not like a solid control. They got a couple of pings down and a couple of normal wards down.
Oh, yeah.
But there's still that crab, so it makes it so hard for them to, like, confidently say, we have complete control of this area just because of the crab. And like you said, the yo-yo goes out, and then it comes back in.
Exactly, the pendulum, it keeps swinging of the minion waves right here. It's a turn-based game of League of Legends. And
just top though.
Oh yeah, it's pushed in, but I mean they're losing waves, but no one's in a position to punish. And even Astralis, if they start up the Baron immediately, the 6 is just going to be poking them out. So it needs to come from some sort of pick, and they know that. It needs to come from some sort of pressure where they catch one off guard from the rotation. And this is still a very, very tense game between MNM and Astralis, but they might just start this one up. They might feel confident for it.
There's one
and it is. They're starting it up right now, and it's going fast.
It's going very, very quick. There's no available
HP
to the side of MNM. They don't know this is happening. Zig's bomb coming in. Can he steal it away? No, he can't. Baron secured into the hook. The fight is on. Solar Flare lands, and Cannon jumps over the wall looking for Chrisberg. Chrisberg gets bought back. He's so low, but he's not going to be going down today. The hook from Wendell is enough to save the day for the side of Astralis. They're chasing for a little bit more as Carlson gets himself a bit of damage. The rocket almost kills Kana, but he's okay. Oh my lord, that was so close.
And this is why we need to see Astralis trying to put the finishing touches of the game. You're almost full build on every carry. Chrisberg completely full items himself. Resets to come through. And let's have a look at that replay once again. Astralis, they decide to be decisive. They decide to start it up. Ultimate comes out, but it's not enough. And Taxa, he aims true with his smite. Royal Cannon finds a beautiful position onto Chrisberg, but the damage is not good enough. And then Wendell, most likely, or potentially rather, a game-winning hook onto the MNM mid laner there.
Yeah, that was almost enough from Royal Cannon. Popped the exhaust, popped everything to kill him, but he didn't have anybody to peel him out. And Wendell was there to make sure that Chrisberg wasn't going down quite yet. Last time Astralis got the Baron, they got 3 towers. There's only 1 tower outside of MNM's base now, and this game is crumbling before them.
It definitely is, but you can also see they're playing 2 lanes right now. They're keeping Carlson in the mid lane. They're keeping Crest with a pushed up wave down towards the bottom wave. This is going to sync up with the next wave as well, and they should look to try and hold it here while Carlson wait for the next minion wave in the mid lane to sync it up. It's taking a little bit of time. But Astralis, only 1 member against them right now. It is Babista holding the line. Rest of MNM can move in now, and let's see what can they do with this minion wave then.
Let's see what they can do. Great zone there from Crest. The bomb goes down. Chrisberg is junked. So much damage coming out.
Lifestealer back up. He just have that bloodthirster.
Yes, but Michigu's ultimate's on a very short cooldown. It's already quarter of it gone. So it's coming back up. Dragon spawning up. This would be number 3 for Astralis. This would be soul for MNM. It'd be such a big one. Kana has no flash. He's zoned. He's popped. They're jumping in. Tax is on. The hook is huge. And they've already found a kill onto Wendell. And Kana's able to get out thanks to the subjugate. But Bisa goes golden for the moment. Taxa comes in. Chrisberg slowed down. Chrisberg is just entirely out of the fight as Royal Cannon Gale forces out. Dragon secured by Astralis as Carlson continues the chase. Trying to find the jungler for MNM. Dodging out on the boulder toss. And just like that, MNM somehow sliver out of a dangerous position yet again, but Astralis will now tie up on the Dragons.
Yeah, and here's the extra sustain. That's once again from the Bloodthirst of Chrisberg. He's back to full HP. They don't need to go for the reset just yet. Baron off buff minions still available for 20 seconds for Astralis, but it looks like they're finally going to be backing up for this one. They're happy with the fact they're put on Soul Point. But Jakey boy, I think we still need 1 more Baron on the map before this game is going to go to an end.
I think you're absolutely right on that one. Gold lead be damned. This is all about rotation and positioning now. Yes, Jinx is fed, but so is the Tristana. Zig's able to do so much damage to these waves as well. It's not about the gold. It's not about the items. Obviously, they're a factor, but...
It's very much about items still.
Yeah, it's still about items, but, you know...
It becomes less and less, the gold lead deficit becomes less and less relevant is what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that everyone does damage now. Everyone's fed. And yes, there might be a gold lead, but Chrisberg's full build. Whatever gold he's obtaining to himself now, whatever gold lead he's building for himself, it does not mean more in the item department. And that is why the game is so tense. That is why, despite Astralis having a 5k gold lead, it doesn't matter as much as it would had this been 25 minutes into the game.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like the Bloodthirst is a bit of an interesting item because obviously you get the shield, but then that also just empowers Michigu with his Shadow Flame a little bit.
I mean, it has to come through.
It has to come through. I understand why, but yeah.
I mean, Mortimer's could have been another one with the Lifeline passive pop in when you get the shield as well, and it does give you some extra speed. Oh, no, that could have been huge.
That could have been game winning. Kana's chasing in. He's found Chrisberg with the pillar, but nobody else can back up. Solar Flare into the Gale Force. Oh,
that was the edge!
The bomb and the meteor just chunked Chrisberg out. 1/3 HP, and now Crest reveals himself, has a blast cone to get away. Lantern comes in, and Kana's continue to zone. Got the pillar to slow everybody else down. Royal Cannon now joins up with the rest of the team. Kana has to subjugate. Chrisberg healed back up to full HP, and MNM are zoning Astralis out of their own jungle. They find the hook. Their fight is breaking out. Great ultimate attacks to buy some space, and Kana will fall here as here comes Babisa onto the flank.
Nice hook!
It's a great hook by Wendell onto a Royal Cannon. He's able to jump out. He's able to survive, but meanwhile, they find a double kill because Babista dies off screen. MNM are crumbling. TP is coming in though, and it looks like Carlson may be hunting for a little bit more. Can he find the 2 carries? Cannon's jumping in onto Crest, trying to find the outplay. The rocket's coming in. Cannon jumps onto Rendell, finds himself 1, jumps for the reset onto Crest's face, but he's not able to save the day. The bomb is huge as well on the other side. They're in the base. They're looking for the kill onto the Ziggs. Carlson able to survive. MNM, the game has fallen apart. The meteor almost kills Carlson, but it's not going to be enough. The base will be forfeited here. Astralis have done it. It has been such a rough split for them so far, but they are going to be able to crack open the base. Maybe Michigu can clear the waves, but maybe he just gets 1 shot. Maybe he just gets popped. They don't have a carry. The towers will go down, and Kana's going to have to pull off a bloody miracle to make this work, but he will be cooked by the Chaos Storm. Dr. Chaos, he will also fall victim to Crest, and the Nexus will explode. A 43-minute slugfest, and Astralis find the win.